It's real now, folks. It's official. It's confirmed. The duo of Scottie Barnes and RJ Barrett is an elite tandem in the NBA. The role players stepping up on this Raptors roster have tremendously high upside, and it's leading to wins, leading to some fans speculating. Is Masai Ujiri going to pull back on this year one of a rebuild? Is he going to pull back on capturing that flag, on making that push to the bottom out there in the Eastern Conference? What's going on with this Toronto Raptors team? Because frankly, back-to-back wins now, a few wins, 5-5 of their last 10 games. This team is sneaky good, as we discussed a week ago, and now it's translating to W's. So we're going to discuss the Raptors' win against the Indiana Pacers, but more importantly, where this team is at, and frankly, why I think things couldn't have gone better so far this season for the Toronto Raptors, and where I project things to go for the rest of the season, because again, I've been open about I want some star-level talent out there on this group, but I want this Raptors team to win, especially early on in the season, especially get to see with this core group, the talent, the development, everything we're looking at. So lots of stuff to break down this video, but before we do, folks, again, if you guys are a part of the 67% of our viewers are tuning in the vids, want the daily Toronto Raptors news coverage, and you guys haven't hit the subscribe button just yet, make sure you guys hit that sub button, because regardless, win, loss, draw, trades, staying pat, this team is a lot more interesting to follow, to watch along to, than it has been in recent seasons. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. But let's dive into the madness. Let's dive into the news, because again, everyone watching just saw this Toronto Raptors team beat the Indiana Pacers 111-122. There was about an 8-minute stretch where it looked like the Pacers were going to come back. It looked like the tanks were revving up for the Raptors squad, but down the stretch, again, the dynamic duo of Scottie Barnes and RJ Barrett, they pulled it out. And yes, there are some flaws in this in their game. We'll discuss all that. We'll bring that stuff up, because again, if we were making a push, if we're actually going to be a team that wants to make a little run out, make a little noise in the Eastern Conference, we got to be a little bit more critical of the things that have led to the abolish record that the Raptors do have right now at this point. And there were some things that reared their head tonight against the Indiana Pacers, but regardless, RJ Barrett, Scottie Barnes, even with some of the negatives, both had phenomenal performances in this one overall for this team. We'll talk about Scottie Barnes first, too. Again, highs and lows over the course of this game, but overall really shined against, his former teammate Pascal Siakam, matched up with him a ton, had 35 points on 13 of 20 shooting, went 3 of 7 from the three-point line, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. The turnovers we'll discuss after, but overall, man, Scottie Barnes, the one thing I love about this, and I love it especially in a season where the Toronto Raptors are in a position where if they lose some games, it's fine. It's a rebuild. It's a strategic rebuild. It's what's on the go. But Scottie Barnes, he's had some moments where, again, he's playing a little bit too fast, and it happens with young players, especially when they're given the reins to lead an NBA team. Scottie Barnes plays a little bit too fast for his own good. He's rushing some plays, he's rushing some possessions, but oftentimes when we see that, you just see a player lose confidence. You see most players that played basketball, whatever level you're at, you take too many plays, you're going a little bit too hard, you airball a couple shots, you may have some bad turnovers, you're taking a step back on the upcoming possessions. You're saying, hey guys, I'm passing the ball to my other teammate, I'm going to take a few possessions, to gather myself, to fix things up, and that's definitely can be an asset, a positive, at times over the course of, important games and to get some wins and stuff. But the thing that's interesting about Scottie Barnes, regardless of how things are going, regardless of how things are rocking, Scottie Barnes just always has that ability, that mentality to lock in and just say, hey, I'm going full steam ahead. I'm getting my buckets. I'm attacking the. I turned over the ball the last couple of sessions. Who cares? I'm going in. I'm drawing a foul out here on this possession. And we saw this from Kyle Lowry, and it did it frustrated some Raptors fans. I recall covering this team with Lowry for years at this point. And it frustrated some people when Kyle Lowry would hoist up some shots, and he wasn't going well. Things weren't going hot, and he'd take those transition threes. Like, what are you doing? You're pulling your hair out. But when they worked, man, they were game-changing. And tonight, even when the Pacers were going on some runs, even when Scottie had a couple turnovers straight, he still has the confidence. He still has the energy. He still just has that locked-in ability to say, hey, I'm giving it my best go. I'm attacking this rim with full force, and I'm making it. I'm living and dying by me being the number one option out there on the squad. So, again, as Scottie Barnes matures, learns to slow down his head a little bit, out there in these games, as any young star in the NBA does have to do, especially that weren't, score first 1A options coming into the NBA. that's going to be a positive, a major positive asset to have. Even if on certain nights where you're playing the Pacers, it's not. But, again, it ended up being a positive at the end, but there were some runs where the Pacers went on something crazy. But I know that's something basketball philosophy. Everyone watching the game, it's a different eye test for every person. But something notable from tonight's game regarding Scottie Barnes. But it wasn't just him because, again, I already illustrated RJ Barrett in this one. Just continues to be the Raptors, anchor out there at the scoring end. 29 points in this one. 9 rebounds, anchor in a positive way, like a reliable sort of piece out there in the team. 29 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists for RJ Barrett. 9 of 16 shooting from the field, 2 of 6 from the 3-point line, 9 of 12 from the free throw line. Got to the rim a ton in this game, and 5 turnovers himself, which is what it is, but really coming out and playing with force. The same way Scottie Barnes, drives lane. Both those guys are just unstoppable when they get ahead of steam, when they get their body under control. They can just finish around the basket at will. With Miles Turner out there in the paint, it doesn't matter. They're able. Maybe it matters, but because RJ Barrett almost crowned Miles Turner. Now, Miles Turner had a nice block, but I got really excited there for a millisecond thinking RJ Barrett was about to poster Miles Turner, but that was just a moment in this game. But overall, this duo of Scottie Barnes and RJ Barrett, regardless if this game was won, was lost, this duo, these two guys right here, it is nice to have really fun young talents out there on your squad. So very, very positive there for this team. But again, now with a couple wins under our belt, a couple big wins against the Miami Heat, Indiana Pacers, even though the Pacers made a little run at the end, these were handled W's by the Toronto Raptors. These were games that the Raptors had in hand from start to finish. There's people pointing at Masai Ujiri saying, this is supposed to be a rebuild. What are we doing? We need to tank. We need to do all this type of stuff. Well, I've said it from day one. I want the Raptors to win every single game. I'm never going to be rooting for this team to lose. Definitely not before January. That's a bit absurd. You're leaning into the tank a little bit too much there. If you're before January, really pushing for that type of stuff, pushing for L's, not that development, all that type of stuff. So again, I'm all for getting Cooper Flag, getting Ace Bailey, getting these types of players, but I want to see this group. I want to see Immanuel Quickley, I want to see Gradey Dick, I want to see RJ Barrett, I want to see Scottie Barnes, I want to see Jakob Poeltl out there in the lineup, but I want to see them all play with Ochai Agbaji too. I want to see the core guys at least for a week. Give us a game, give us one game where we can see all those guys in a rhythm. Not, hey, IQ was out for a month and now he's back and now he's trying to get into play and stuff. No, I want to see them for a week. Just get some reps, get some minutes, get some run out there all together as a tandem. Just to see what we got, just to see what we have out there as a team. Because, again, Masai Ujiri is looking to build the talent out there in this roster so this team can build for the future. That's the direction. That's what people want. That's what's kind of, the push is for this season. You wouldn't admit to year one of a rebuild if it wasn't the case. And, frankly, I don't think we're in a position right now, despite wins against the Heat, despite wins against the Pacers, where it's like, oh, the tanking fans should be pulling out their hair and being frustrated and doing that type of stuff. Because, again, we can take a look at what's the reality is. The Raptors still have the 6th best odds for the number 1 overall pick. A very, very tight race at the bottom there. And the Sixers, they're going to win some games now. They just had a big W. They're starting to win a couple. And the New Orleans Pelicans have a lot of guys returning from action, so I don't know if they're going to be that bad. But there are some weird quotes coming out about Brandon Ingram wanting to be in a winning situation. Zion Williamson being out, not returning anytime soon. So we'll see about that team. But the Jazz, the Wizards, those are going to be teams that are objectively bad. Like, they have worse talent than the Raptors. It's going to be tough to catch them regardless. We are going to have to suffer through a year of absolutely pitiful basketball, just depression out there on the court to really catch those two teams. And the odds aren't even different for 1, 2, 3. So it's those are teams. That is what it is. The Portland Trailblazers are in a tough spot as well. But the Raptors, the big test now will be this upcoming stretch of games because after the Heat, after the Pacers, who are two good teams, of course, the Raptors face the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Dallas Mavericks, the New York Knicks, the Brooklyn Nets, who have been better this season so far, but again, they're a team the level of the Pacers, Heat, whatever. But the Rockets, the Knicks again, the Grizzlies, the Hawks, who've been playing really well lately, the Celtics, the Nets, whatever. The Orlando Magic have been phenomenal this season. The Bucks are back to playing better. The Knicks, the Cavs, this is a very, very tough schedule that's coming up for the Raptors. Now, if Toronto can come out and get a bunch of wins over December, over the course of December, come out, beat the Thunder, beat the Mavericks, beat all these top tier teams in the NBA, then again, why are you looking to tank? Why are you out here, pushing, calling for this tank, and we're bringing back the old tank animation for this one? Why are you calling for this team? We're out here beating the Thunder. Well, a bunch of these teams, not just like a one-off game. Like, we're beating some of the best teams in the NBA. Let's make a push. That's not a play-in team. That's a team to really fight. Now, again, is that likely? Probably not with how the start of the season's gone. But if it happens, man, I'd love to see this team overachieve, excel. Actually have star players in Immanuel Quickley and Gradey Dick and RJ Barrett and Scottie Barnes that's ready to go, and you only need a couple tweaks to make that push. I'm there for that ride. Am I going to be frustrated and scream at the TV if that doesn't happen? No, like in the game I might, but I'm not going to be losing sleep over because we are in year one of a rebuild. The reality is watching this game tonight, like looking at the stats, the box score. Scottie Barnes needs to learn to turn over the ball less during crucial moments, during runs. Again, I like the confidence, and it's going to pay off that he has that confidence in the future, but we have to get those turnovers down, similar to RJ Barrett, who, again, has been so good at facilitating over the course of the season, but missed a lot of players too tonight. It looked like his passing vision was a little bit off. Like, we'll get more critical of these games if we are expecting to win, if we go in that direction, if we make that push, right? And Ochai Agbaji's been phenomenal out there from the 3-point line and stuff like. But I'm not getting on a tangent. But essentially, like, if we win a ton of these games that are coming up, then who cares about a tank? I know I'm long in this video, but I don't care, right? I'm not worried about Ace Bailey and Cooper Flagg. Now, if we lose these games and stuff, and then February comes, we're still kind of like 6-7, yeah, then maybe we can lose some games to push for bottom 3, bottom 4. But it's worth it to give it a shot. Let these young players get development, get these opportunities, get that, reps facing off against the big teams, and then have the confidence to try to win something like that. That's what it's all about. That's what we're kind of pushing here for this season. But, this isn't really a full game reaction. But the thing that we know now that's real is Scottie Barnes, RJ Barrett. That duo is real here now at this point. And there's a lot of guys out there on the role players for the Raptors that are playing pretty legit too, especially Ochai Agbaji. But let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section down below. You guys are the best to make us far. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.